गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरा गुरुसाक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः.
Good morning everyone. I am welcoming you all for your pre-U career. So you are opting computer science combination. It is very good because nowadays we cannot imagine our life without computers. We are using these computers everywhere in the world. There is no area where we are not using computers. If we go for education, agriculture, science and research, banks, news media, everywhere we are using computers nowadays. We cannot imagine our life, as I told you. This is very important for us to learn this particular concept. So I am Prasad, lecturer, Department of Computer Science, Sarodaya Pre-University College, Tumkur. So let me start with the first chapter called as Fundamentals of Computers. So this chapter includes the concepts like introduction, functional components of computers, evolution of computers, generations of computers, classifications of computers, and finally applications of computers. In this chapter you will get 3 questions. 1 mark 1 question, 2 mark 1 question, and 5 mark 1 question. Totally weightage is 8 marks. This chapter's weights. And it is easy to score marks in this particular chapter. So let me start with introduction part. First of all, we must understand what is computer system. So as we know that computer system is an electromechanical device. In specific, it is electromechanical device because it contains 90% of electronic components and 10% of mechanism in it. That's why we are also calling it as electronic device. A computer is an electronic device. It processes the data according to instructions given to it. As we give instruction to the computer, it performs its operation and finally it generates results. So computer is an electronic device, process the data according to instructions given to it. Now we must understand why we need computers. What's an advantage of using computers? Comparatively, what are the advantages are there in computers compared to human beings? First advantage is the speed. The speed of processing is very fast in computers than human beings. Generally, the speed is measured in microseconds and nanoseconds. See, normally, always everybody will prefer, we want to finish the job as early as possible. At the earliest, we have to finish the job. So compared to human beings, computers can work very fastly. It generates desired output in a fraction of seconds. That is, as I told you, in nanoseconds. Any instructions given by the user, after processing, finally it generates results and give it to the outside world. The speed is enormous. Within few seconds, whatever the input will give, we will get a proper result over there. That's an advantage, main advantage of computers than human beings. And second advantage, accuracy. Say, after processing, whatever the results it is going to generate is very accurate without any mistake. Generally, while doing lots of work, human beings may do many mistakes. but computer works with greater accuracy. So it's highly impossible in computers in case of errors. Always it will give proper results. The accuracy level is greater. Suppose if we have around 2000 students in our college, in order to sort the data, human beings may take nearly half an hour time, whereas computers will take half a second. So the speed is also enormous, and as well accuracy level, perfectness. We may do many mistakes while sorting. We may do mistakes, but computer won't do any mistakes at all. It will give proper result at very lesser time it will take. Then next one is storage capacity. That's also one of the characteristics of computer. Storage, computer can store large amount of data. Lakhs together number of pages of information can be stored. Video type of data can also be stored. Audio form of data can also be stored. So whatever it may be the type of data, it can store large amount of data, and at any instant of time, at any fraction of second, if we need, if users require, we can extract it. So easy to extract the data which is required for the user. Large volume of data is stored in a computer. Any moment of time they can extract it. That's also one of the very important characteristics of computers. And next, diligence. See, always while doing any job, human beings may get tired. So because of tiredness, they may do many mistakes. But in case of computers, in case of electronic devices, there is no tiredness. They will do the job with greater efficiency for hours together, sometimes days together. Without any break, it will work with greater efficiency. Computers won't do any mistakes at all. According to the instructions given by the user, it will give proper results, perfect results. So tiredness is not there in the electronic device. Easily will get perfect result without any errors in the output. And cost effectiveness. The important thing in our daily life application is cost. Using computers, we can reduce our expenditure to large extent. A system will give lots of desired output. If we do manually, it will take lots of cost. If we do electronically, though the initial investment is high, for large volume, the cost is reduced to large extent. So these are the characteristics of computers. These are the advantages of computers, why we are preferring nowadays everywhere in the world. There is no area where we are not using computers because of these characteristics. That's what I told you: speed, accuracy, storage, diligence, cost effectiveness, and many more. Because of these advantages, we are preferring computers everywhere in the world. Now, let's start with data and information. So, as we know that users can understand letters, alphabets, numbers, and symbols. Computer can understand binary language, that is signals. So, binary means binary digit, zeros and ones, off and down operation. Computer can understand binary form. Human beings can understand digital form, that is alphabets type of data. So collection of raw facts, that's what the combination of alphabets, numbers and special characters, that is what we call it as raw facts. Collection of raw facts, figures and statistics will give you data. A data is a collection of raw facts, figures and statistics which can be processed. So it is in a proper format to process the data. So data means it is a collection of raw facts, figures and statistics which can be processed. The processed data is called as information. See, after processing the data which will give definite meaning, that is called as information. A information is a processed data which will give definite meaning. Combination of alphabets, figures and statistics will give you data. So after processing, it will become information. So in the final examination, you might have get questions like this. Give the difference between data and information. Data is a collection of raw facts, whereas information is a processed data which will give definite meaning. Next, we'll go for important concept called as classification of these concepts. Like computer industry is majorly classified into two major categories. One is called as hardware, another one is called as software. Hardware, the physical components of a computer system. See, we can see the devices like keyboard, mouse, CPU, that's what cabinet, and output devices like monitor and all. We can feel these devices. So these devices are called as hardware components. The devices which we can see, we can feel. So these components are called as hardwares. The physical components of a computer system is called hardware. And when it comes to software, set of instructions given to the computer. Set of instructions or programs. So that is in understandable format, that is in the high level language, which is used to transfer the raw facts into a meaningful data. So that is in the form of programs. So set of instructions or programs given to the computer is called software. So in the coming chapters, you will come to know in detail regarding hardware components and software contents. Now, let me start with functional components of computer system. So, in a functional component of computer system, we have IPO cycle. Input, process, output. Input devices are used to feed the information, transfer the information or convey the instructions into the processor. Processor will do the job according to instructions transferred to it. And finally, after processing, results will be displayed or results are generated through output devices to the common people. This is what actually called as IPO cycle. Input, process, output. So starts with input device. The way of transferring any instruction into the computer system, into the processor. Important input devices are keyboard, mouse, joystick, scanner, OMR, MICR and many more. So standard input devices are keyboard and mouse. In the next chapter, I am going to explain each and every input devices in detail. In this chapter, just I'll give you an example. Keyboard and mouse are the standard input devices. Keyboard is a character user interface device. Any character type of data will be transferred through this device. Whereas in case of mouse, it is a mechanically operated user serial engine. This particular device uses to point out the options. It's also called as a pointers. So it points out whichever the operations we require. Usually it is used for graphical purpose. That's why it is also called as graphical user interface device. Keyboard is a character user interface device and mouse is a graphical user interface device. And plenty of input devices are there. I'll explain you in the next chapter. Then, once the instruction transferred from input devices to processor, there the important stage will process, that is CPU, Central Processing Unit. This particular unit will act as a brain of computer system. How computer will work, how human beings are working with the help of their brain, because Brain is a very important thing which will decide, which will act according to the instructions. So our body will work, will function based on the brain's instructions. Like that, in computer, CPU will act as a brain of computer system. So, to read and execute programs or instructions given by the user will be done in this particular device. That is central processing unit. In this unit, the important components are ALU, that is arithmetic logic unit, CU, that is control unit, MU, that is memory unit. Let me start with ALU, arithmetic logic unit. In this particular unit, all arithmetical operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, all these operations will be carried. See, you know that computer can understand only signals that is in binary format, zeros and one format, but user can understand only high level language, that is English type of language, that is in alphabets format. So to convert from high level language to machine level language, from what we are knowing language to computer understandable language, we need calculations. These calculations can be done with the help of arithmetic logic unit. All arithmetical operations will be carried in this device. That is either maybe addition, or maybe subtraction, or it may be multiplication, or it may be division. So using this operation, we can convert the data from one language to another language, one proper format to another format. That is high level language to machine level language. And then logic. See, to test multiple conditions. Suppose if you have 100 files in computer system, if you want to extract any one file from 100, it is going to compare. So whatever the required file is there, from the list of files, we have to compare it. So to check multiple conditions there, we have to use logical operations like AND, OR, NOT. AND to test multiple condition, or to test either one among those two. It's going to check both, but result is based on true from one to anyone, and not negation operation. So all arithmetical operations and logical operations will be carried in this particular unit. That is very important for a computer system. ALU, arithmetic logic unit. Next unit is control unit. See, this particular unit control and coordinates the internal and external operations of the computer system. See, control is very important in system. Whatever the instructions we are given to the computer, based on that instruction, it has to process the data. If it is already stored in a computer, how to extract it? If you want to store it newly, how to add it? How to do modifications? Where it has to store? How it has to perform? From where it has to extract the data? And which operating system required it is? What platform it is required? All these controls will be done by the control unit. It controls and coordinates the computer to do all the operations which is required by the system. That is what control unit. It is also called as timing control unit because the series of operations will also decided by this particular unit. Timing control unit. Next we'll move on to memory unit. Memory. Say it is an information storage device. Memory unit is an information storage device. So we have two types of memory, just like human beings. Human beings will also two types of memory, that is temporary memory and permanent memory. In computers also we have two types of memory, primary memory and secondary memory. Primary memory is a temporary memory and it is also called as main memory. Secondary memory is a permanent memory used to store large volume of data compared to primary memory. Say primary memory is a temporary memory until you shut down the system or power failure. It goes on, stores the information continuously. Once you shut down the system or power failure, contents of primary memory will be erased automatically. Whereas in case of secondary memory, it stores the data permanently until user erases it. If you are not interested, you can remove it, or otherwise, even if you switch off your computer, it retains its information until you need it. So, primary memory is a temporary memory, secondary memory is a permanent memory. Primary memory is also called as main memory. So, secondary memory will store large volume of data. So, primary memory, we have main things like ROM and RAM that I will explain you in the next chapter in detail. The types of primary memory, types of secondary memory, all those things I will explain you in detail in the next chapter. Next we will go for output devices. After processing the data, we must give the results to the people, to the outside world in a proper format which can be understood by them. So to give the result to the outside world, we need a device, we need a unit. That unit is called as output unit or output device. The devices which are used to display the data or gives the result to the results to the outside world is called as output unit, output device. The standard output device is monitor. Wherever we use computers, everywhere we'll see monitors too. Monitor is a visual display unit. Whatever the results we are getting through this device is called as soft copy. The results we are getting through visual display unit, that is called as monitor, is called as soft copy, because editing is possible here. Any modification can be done. Just because of that, we'll call it as soft copy. The information we are getting through monitor is called soft copy. Nowadays we are using LED monitors, light emitting diodes. Early days we were used CRT monitors, cathode ray tubes. Now the technology is improved to large extent. Now we are using LED monitors, very thin monitors, that is light emitting diodes. So these monitors will give you soft copy information. Another output device is printer. To take hard copies, we'll use printer. So types of printers are there, that also I'll explain in the coming chapter. So standard output device is monitor, sometimes we'll also use printer too. It is an output device. This is the functional components of computer system. Input device is responsible for giving the instruction into the computer for processing. Central processing unit will process the data according to instructions taken by the input device. After processing, the generated results will be given back to the users through output devices like monitor. So this is the functional components of computer system. Generally we are expecting this question for 5 marks, diagram and also description. Next we'll move on to evolutions of computers, how computers are evolved. So most of them thinking that computers are introduced in recent years, but computers were there right from BCs. In 2500 BC itself, the device called abacus was introduced. It's a first known calculating machine. Generally it is used for calculating purpose, counting purpose. Nowadays most of the students learning this abacus for counting purpose. This was the computer introduced in the BCs itself. Later on in 1614 AD, by name John Napier, he introduced Napier's bones. These are the 9 bones from 1 to 9 to represent digits 1 to 9 and 0 is for constant. With the help of 1 to 9 bones, he used a basic digital number system, decimal number system. So with the help of that concept, he is used for multiplication purpose. He used Napier bones for multiplication purpose. Then after John Napier's bones, by name Blaise Pascal, in 1642 AD, he introduced Pascaline computers. So Pascaline is a mechanical calculator. He introduced this particular calculator for calculation purpose. He gives basic idea of processing the data in calculations. That's why these calculators are also named as Pascalines. He introduced Pascaline device in 1642 AD. Next, after Pascaline, by name Leibniz calculator, Gottfried Leibniz introduced calculator to add, subtract, multiply and divide the contents. He used Leibniz calculator. Later on, Joseph Marie Jacquard invented power loom. So it is named as first read-only memory. He introduced a power loom that is renamed as first read-only memory. That's primary memory, I told you already. Temporary memory. Generally these ROMs are used to set the platform. So it will extract the data from secondary memory to primary memory for processing the data. So this first ROM is invented in this power loom, that is Jacquard's loom, introduced in 1801 AD. Then the basic computer principle, basic calculating principles will be given by Charles Babbage. He is famous for his calculation device, that is he gives basic principles for modern computers. That's why he is also called as father of computer. Charles Babbage is also known as father of computer because he gave basic principle for modern computers. He introduced in 1822 AD. So that's why he is also called as father of modern computer. Next, Lady Ada Lovelace. In 1833 AD, she developed an algorithm. She written algorithm. From algorithm it has converted into a program. That's why she is called as first programmer. Lady Ada Lovelace. That's why under her name Ada also created analysis, design and algorithm. So after that algorithm, she converted into program. She is the first programmer. Then Hollerith tabulating machine was introduced in 1890 AD. It's an electronic counting machine. Hollerith is a mathematician. He introduced the tabulating machine used for counting purpose. So this is how in the early days computers are evolved. So next, electronic era started in 1940s. So there we started with generations of computers. So currently we are in 5th generation, 4th and 5th. So we started with first generation. First generation period will be between 1940 to 56. In this generation, vacuum tubes are used for internal operations. These vacuum tubes acquires lots of space. Huge space is required for a single computer. And it also generates enormous heat while processing the data. That's why in early days computers will be placed in the air conditioned room because it generates enormous amount of heat while processing the data. And processing speed is also bit slow because of vacuum tube technology. And it is very expensive too. very costlier. These computers are very, very, very costlier. It also requires lots of space. And for processing the data, it uses machine level language. That is zeros and ones. ENIAC was the first electronic computer introduced onto the earth. I am going to abbreviate that. ENIAC, E-N-I-A-C, Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer, or we can also call it as calculator. Electronic Numerical Integrator and Calculator. Improved version of ENIAC was EDVAC, Electronic Discrete Variable Automatic Computer. Next, UNIVAC computers were introduced. Most common people will use this type of computers, universal automatic computers. That is general purpose computers. Currently what we are using, universal automatic computers. These were all the early days computers developed in the first generation. Next, second generation. In second generation, actually the time period is 1956 to 63. This is the second generation period. So transistors are used for internal operations. Vacuum tubes are replaced by transistors in the second generation. These computers comparatively smaller in size to first generation. And the processing speed is also a bit faster and economical. Cost effectiveness is less compared to the first generation computers. Assembly level languages were used for giving an instructions in word format. High level languages were also introduced here, like COBOL, Fortran and many more. COBOL is common business oriented language and Fortran is formula translation. These high level languages were also introduced in second generation period. Compared to first generation, second generation computers are bit faster, acquires less space. Transistors were used for internal operations, economical, and assembly level languages were used for transferring instruction. High level languages are also introduced like COBOL and Fortran. Now let me go for the next generation, that is third generation computers. See, in third generation, it starts with 1964 to 1971. In this generation, integrated circuits are used for internal operations. In first generation vacuum tubes, that will be replaced by transistors. Transistors were replaced by integrated circuits, that is IC chips, semiconducting materials in third generation. So for internal operations, integrated circuits are used in third generation. These integrated circuits were used for internal operations. The speed and accuracy increased drastically here. It works with greater speed, with greater efficiency, greater accuracy. So the speed of computer processing is very, very, very fast in third generation. So operating systems are allows here to solve any problems. Like operating systems are the system softwares that is very important for processing data. It will set the platform for a user to perform any data. So third generation computers allows operating system to perform any operations, to solve any problems in computers. So large scale integrations were also used here. So most of the computers were come into existence here in third generation. Very large scale integrations were also introduced. This is third generation period. And next, fourth generation computers, 1971 to 85, even currently we are in fourth generation only. Microprocessors are replaced by integrated circuits. Microprocessors are introduced in fourth generation. Earlier in third generation we used integrated circuits. Microprocessors were used for internal operations. Thousands of ICs, integrated circuits, were built on to single silicon chip. To develop one microprocessor, thousands of ICs are used. So, it works with enormous speed. Networking concepts also introduced in 4th generation. To communicate many people at a time, thousands of computers can be made communicate with the help of networking concepts. Sharing of information is very practical and very easy with the help of networking technology. Transfer of information from one system to another system. Introduction of internet system. It also gives e-commerce concept for us. Economic, that's what electronic commerce. Trade of goods and services using telecommunications and computers. Those are all introduced in this particular generation, that is 4th generation computers. Next, 5th generation computers. In 5th generation, that is present and VR. Artificial intelligence are used in this generation. It is robotics. Without human intervention, we have to do our job. Still, many research is going on to perform our operations continuously. So, without human intervention, we want to do that job. So, that and all research is going on in artificial intelligence. This is 5th generation computers. So, dear students, I am going to stop at this stage of this particular session. In this, I will continue this session afterwards. Now, I want to tell you few questions that may arise in the coming final examination for you. So, these are the possible questions. How you can expect questions from this particular chapter. So, started with introduction, that's what definition of computer. They will ask you like this for 1 mark, what is computer system? And then for 5 marks, they may ask you briefly explain characteristics of computers. That is what speed, accuracy, storage, elegance, cost effectiveness and all those things. Next, for 2 marks, give the difference between data and information. Another question for 2 marks, what is hardware and software? Or what is the difference between hardware and software? Next, what is input device? Give an example for input device. What is output device? Give an example for output device. What is ALU? What is CU? Give an example for memory device. Or what are the types of memories are there? And next, evolutions of computers. Who invented Pascaline computer? Who is called as father of computer? And who is the first programmer? Like that you can get a question for 1 marks. And generations. So totally we are having 5 generations. Definitely you can expect 1 generation for 5 marks. They may ask you a question like this. I briefly explain 1st generation computers. We are expecting 5 points from this. You can write very easily. Vacuum tubes used for internal operations. The size is very large. It acquires more space, generate more heat while processing. Very expensive. Operates only in machine level language. ENIAC, EDVAC, UNIVAC computers were used. Like this you can write any 5 points, that's enough. Or briefly explain 2nd generation or briefly explain 3rd generation, like that you can expect a question from this. So, these are all the questions we can expect from this particular chapter. Thank you one and all.